What's up YouTube, this is PZZSian here. Today I'm going to be doing a video on a Goodwill find. I know this video is kind of a random video, but I figured it would make for an interesting enough video, so that is why I am doing it. So what you are looking at right now is an Apple keyboard. This is the keyboard that came with the original iMacs back in 1998. You know, as soon as I saw this thing in the keyboard section at Goodwill, I knew that I had to get it. One of the main factors actually that drove me to purchase this is that the iMac G3 is actually how I got introduced to Apple initially. Back in 2001, I actually had to use an iMac G3, and I just remember falling in love with it as soon as my eyes saw it. It's just like bam, I freaked out. Seriously, it was the coolest looking computer I had ever seen, and it still is a freaking cool computer if you've never seen one. It's just it's a CRT. It is an all-in-one because it is an iMac, but it's a CRT, and it's got like this. It's just colorful, and it's got these really kiddified sort of. It's got this kiddified sort of profile to it. The lines are all round. It almost looks like a toy, but at the same time it doesn't. Like you could see them in an office, but you also could see them in little kids' rooms. It's just so cool. And I still to this day really do want it. But with that computer, you got this keyboard, and you also got a pretty much abomination of a mouse. Seriously. Back then, that mouse sucked. And it still sucks. I think that's probably the worst mouse design that has ever been known to mankind. Seriously. I don't know how you could beat that in terms of terribleness. But anyways, this keyboard is actually pretty decent, and that is why I have it now. I did not see any of the punk mice at the Goodwill. Maybe I did, but I just said, no, it's just not worth it. Actually, I think if I ever do find one, I probably will pick it up just so I have the complete peripheral collection, but honestly, it's not really that important to me. Actually, one of the other main reasons why I went ahead and purchased this is because it only cost like $2. And seriously, for $2, I was kind of worried I'd have buyer's remorse because I thought it was going to be more like $5 or $7. But when I was told that it was going to ring up for $2, I'm like, okay, yep, I'm getting it. And it's nice. All this thing really needs is a good little cleaning. Like, the keys are a little bit dirty, but really this thing is in excellent condition, so I'm a little bit shocked to find it for only $2. So anyways, let's go ahead and let's take a closer look at this. Alright, so as you can see, the keyboard layout is basically the same, well, it is the same, as any modern day keyboard that you would have seen. We do have a few features carried over. In fact, I do have a modern Apple keyboard that I will be comparing this to briefly. But we do have, sort of, like for instance, we do still have the light for the caps lock key. Now something else that's interesting to note is that each of these keys are transparent. You can see through them. You see that little dot in the middle is actually the little rubber nub that makes the key go up and down. So that's actually pretty cool. It'd be kind of neat if this was actually backlit, but it's not. But you do have obviously the light right here, and it does kind of make the entire key light up slightly when you turn it on, especially in the dark, which is pretty cool. The keys up here are actually just regular old everyday function keys. Obviously they're not like volume control and all that jazz. Obviously back in the day computers didn't really have a use for all those media controls on the top there. There's not even a function key to be found on this, so that's also something kind of neat. There's the original, the old Apple key. This is now known as the command key, but obviously back then it had the Apple logo on it, so that was pretty cool. And there's the option key, the control key. Then the number pad, we do have a numslot key, which is interesting, and I don't really know how to activate that. Maybe you hold down Shift and then press it, because again, like I say, there's no function key to be seen on here. But there is an enter key, and then there's a plus, minus, multiply, divide, and equals. And the delete key is called the delete key, not the backspace key, just as it is on today's keyboards. Now taking a look up here, you will see that we do have a nice translucent plastic design. I love how it actually has some of the same aesthetic features as the iMac itself did. Basically the entire iMac had this sort of weird graded pattern on it, which is kind of cool looking. So that carries out all the way around. As we take a look at the back of it, you will see, if we get that out of the way, there it is again. So this thing really just looks like an iMac in your hands. It's so cool. I love it. Definitely a very neat design. While we're at the back here, you will see that we do have this nice Apple logo here. That is not a sticker. I thought maybe that was just a sticker someone stuck on it. No, that is an actual part of this keyboard, which I think is awesome. I like that. And here we have just the sort of sticker that tells you all the copyright stuff. It's got this cool little holographic effect going on, as you can see as I pan it around and turn it. I think that looks pretty cool. I like that. This is actually made in 1998, so I don't know if you can see that copyright statement there, but 1998 is the copyright on this, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. Also, something else that's kind of neat is down here we do have a stand, and it works kind of in a unique way because you just sort of flip it all the way up, and that will prop your keyboard up for you. So you get some more of an angle like that, as opposed to if you had this flip down, you get just a flat angle, sort of like that. Well, like, hang on, like that, I guess, yeah. So, very, very cool. Also, as you will see, the entire keyboard is sort of rounded, which I think is awesome. You will also notice that we have some USB ports. Even back then, in 1998, Apple put USB ports on the sides of their keyboards. How cool is that? Seriously. How freaking cool is that? I had a Windows 98 laptop. In fact, I actually have some videos up on it from a while ago, and that thing only had one USB port. Like back in the day, USB was not really much of a. It was a brand new technology pretty much, so it wasn't very much utilized back then. But Apple certainly knew what they were doing, so I think that's pretty cool. The main purpose for this, though, not for USB thumb disks and stuff, because those actually, I don't think those are out then. What you mainly use these for is to plug your mouse in, and you could actually plug it into here, like to this side if you were a righty, or you could plug it into this side if you were a lefty. That's why there's two of them, so it's more of an ambidextrous setup. So that's just, I just like that. I think that's really cool. And then the cable here is sort of this weird clear, it's got this clear rubber on it. And you can see the electromagnetic shielding, I guess is what it is, around the actual wire itself. So it looks kind of cool. And there's the USB port itself. It's got an Apple logo on this side and a USB port on this side. And something that I don't like is how it's got this proprietary USB port. It will plug into anything. It'll even plug into a PC. I mean, this doesn't actually obtrude it from anything. But what this does mean is that since this keyboard actually came with an extension cable, and the extension cable was keyed in such a way to where only this will plug into it. You cannot plug in any old USB port into it, which I think makes no sense. I still to this day don't understand why Apple did that. Because maybe you don't need the extension cable for your setup, but the extension cable could come in handy for something else. Like, seriously, I don't know. That's just something I don't get. So yeah, there is that. There's also this bit of plastic here, which I think was left over from the original packaging, which I think is kind of neat. This cable, unlike most Apple cables today, is still in excellent condition. I've noticed that Apple sucks at making cables now, so there's really no rotting to be seen on this here cable. I'm pretty sure it might have been a little bit less yellowed back when it initially came out, but I mean, obviously, these things just tend to get yellow over time. But actually, really, the plastic on this thing isn't that yellow. You'll see that Apple logo there is plastic, white plastic. It's not yellow at all. That's like Snow White right there. Not the princess. That's just, I'm talking about the color. The USB ports on the side, I guess you could say they're yellowed, but not really. They're not that badly yellowed. If anything, they're just slightly yellowed. But this thing really has held up very nicely to the test of time. You really would have expected this thing to be more and more yellowed. The keys are obviously a little bit yellowed, the lettering on them, so whatever. Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a brief look at sort of the old versus the new, alright? One thing you'll note immediately is that this is actually longer than this. I don't know why I'm surprised to see that, but it is. I mean, obviously it's longer because it's got this section here. These are sort of your function key, your home key, your page up, page down, end, and delete. Then you got your arrow keys here. Whereas this, it actually has the arrow keys right here, and then you've got your help, home, page up, and page down over here. You do not, it doesn't look like you have a forward backspace, which is interesting. I guess, was it the clear button maybe? I don't know. But you do not have the forward backspace. Maybe if you held Shift and pressed backspace, that might have been it. I'm not really sure. But obviously there's the dedicated forward backspace key right there. So that's pretty interesting. You do have some unused function keys over here. These are totally unused, in fact. In fact, what I did with my iMac was that I mapped this to take a screenshot of the entire screen, and then I mapped this one to it'll let me frame an area to take a screenshot of. Because obviously Apple keyboards don't have print screen keys on them, so you have to map your own. So that is pretty nifty. Obviously another thing, we have the media controls, or brightness down, brightness up, and then we've got, well, this is expose, but now it's actually mission control. Yeah, mission control, and this is gadgets, but it's now launchpad. These are just regular function keys. I don't think they actually have any uses either, so you can map those to do whatever you want. And then we have the media controls right here, and volume up and volume down, and eject. So very, very cool. And that's that. Something else you'll note lacking from this keyboard is actually this right here, which is a dedicated power button. This is something that Apple actually moved away from doing, but is actually starting to bring it back with some of the new MacBook Pros and MacBook Airs, is this integrated power button on the keyboard. Now, the iMac itself did have its own power button, but this is just sort of another way to go about doing it. Something to note is that you could not turn the iMac on with this button. You had to use the one built into the computer, but you could turn it off and you could put it to sleep. So that's pretty cool. Very neat indeed. And obviously something else that Apple has carried over from back then, you still get USB ports on the sides. Now in this case these are USB 2. I actually don't know if the new keyboards have USB 3 on them, because this is actually made in 2007. I haven't really done any research in that, but at least in the case of this keyboard we do have USB 2.0 ports. And again, you could use that for the same thing, plugging in a mouse, but since most mice are Bluetooth and wireless these days, you can really use those for anything, thumb drives or whatever. You got the Apple logo and all that jazz. So very, very cool. Also a lot thinner. And also the angle is fixed. You can't change it. You have to physically prop it up on something else to get a different angle. So yeah. Okay, so to end out this video, let's go ahead and let's plug the keyboard into a modern Macintosh computer. So here we go. I brought my MacBook with me just because it's more convenient than the iMac, and I can just set it here and do it this way. Alright, so actually I gotta log in. Badoosh! Haha, you don't know my password. Okay, so now let's go ahead and let's plug this in and see what happens. See if it still works or not. This goes in right here. Badoosh! So there we goes. Well, stupid cable, get out of here. Get out of here. There we go. Alrighty, so as you can see, we have plugged it in. Let's just go ahead and let's quickly open up Text Edit. Oh, getting emails. And let's maximize this and crank you guys up here. What I'll do is rather than zooming in, I'll just make the font bigger, just so it'll be easier. Let's make it size 86. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to type on this keyboard. Hello. 144. Can you all see that? Yeah. So, hello. Oh, jeez. Oh, come on. Go back. You little meanie. Don't be mean, Macintosh. 144. Hello, YouTubes. Oh no, frig. I accidentally hit one of the function keys and it did that. So yes, iMac keyboard from 1998. Badoosh. There we go. So as you can see, it does still type, and you saw that I was not using that keyboard, and modern Apple keyboards do not sound like this. So there you be. Alright, so yeah, as you can see, it does indeed work. And also, as you saw, I did accidentally press, I think it might have been F11? Yeah, I pressed F11 on accident. That obviously acts as a function key. That's just like if I were to press the volume down key, which is this one. Volume down right here, but holding the function key down that does that. So it's basically like that. So these keys here do act like standard function keys. In fact, let me try something. If I go into my system preferences, if I go under keyboard, or no, that's trackpad, frig. If I go under keyboard and click on, where is it? Use all of these as function keys. If I press F11, it's still, yeah, okay, so that doesn't affect anything. What I did, just to see if it would work, is I checked that. Can y'all see that? Probably not. I checked this right here just to see if that would have any effect on the function keys on the old iMac keyboard, and it doesn't. So yeah, very interesting. So yeah, something I just noticed. Hang on. No, I don't know, that's weird. Anyways, so yeah, obviously the function keys just kind of do their own thing. If I press F1 as if I was to adjust the brightness, makes a noise. F2, noise. Oh, that was a screen. Oh yeah, I actually match F5 and F6 on my, if I hold down function and then press F5 or F6, that will take a screenshot. That's why that happened. Okay. So yes, now I'm sure what you guys are all wondering is, what happens if I press that there power button? It actually works. It puts the computer to sleep, which really shocked me. I was a little bit shocked by that. Let's wake it up. I could just press a key. That'll wake it up. I'm gonna move this out of the frame and do this. Oh, frig. There we go. So yeah, the power button does work. If I press and hold it, you do get the little thing here. Whoa, friggin' A. That asks you if you want to shut your computer down. Let's actually hit yes. Oh no. And let's do delete. We don't need to keep that. Alright, so my laptop has turned off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press the power button. Alright, I'm pressing it. Press and hold it even. You'll see it ain't doing anything. Let's even switch to the other USB port, just for argument's sake. And it ain't turning on. I'll even hold it for a bit. That is pressed. Ain't doing nothing. So it does not turn the computer on, but it will turn it off or put it to sleep. And if you press and hold it, like I say, it will bring up that dialog box, just like on this power button, and then you can actually tell it to turn off. So there you go. Let's go ahead and boot this thing back up. Because there's one more thing I would like to show you that I find to be a bit interesting. Okay, so one more thing I wanted to show you that I thought was a little bit interesting is actually the behavior of caps lock. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to press the caps lock key on this keyboard. Bink! And you will notice that the caps lock key on here is not actually glowing. Alright, now if we go into a text edit program, like, well, text edit, and we bring up a new document, we maximize it and make the font huge, like 144. If I go ahead and I type with the built-in keyboard here, you'll see that everything is in lowercase. But, as you can see, if I type on this keyboard, I'll hold it with this hand, so that way you know I'm not pressing space or shift. It types in caps lock. So that is pretty interesting. And I actually just now had a thought. What happens if we have a third keyboard plugged in? Does this also have its own weird independent behavior with caps lock and whatnot, or will it actually follow along with this keyboard? Because obviously, since both of them are going to be plugged into the USB controller, I don't know. So I'm just a little bit sort of random curiosity here. I'm going to plug this into my laptop. And let's see, the caps lock did not turn on this yet. Let's turn it on. And yeah, so all three of these keyboards, like check this out, just to give you guys an idea here. Caps lock, no caps lock. And obviously, as you can see over here, can you see how that light turns on when I press it? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you can see that light turn on and off, sort of. You'll see that all these keyboards here are independent. Like that keyboard's on, and again, this one's still on. but this one is also still off. So they're all independent of each other, which is kind of a weird behavior of the Mac. It was something that I wasn't really aware of, so I just thought it'd be interesting to show you. I'm going to type on this again because we got caps lock on, but if I now type on this with caps lock off, again we're typing in lowercase, and again this one also has its caps lock off, and type, and caps lock is on now because I just pressed it. Yeah. So there you go. Just something else that's kind of weird. So yeah, one other thing that I was interested in seeing is what happens if I plug in a modern day USB flash drive, such as this one, into the USB ports. I have a feeling we're going to get an error message because, like I say, these are definitely USB 1. My hand is shaking. Come on, hand, you can hold this. I know you can. Come on, plug in. Okay, I'm going to set this down here. Oh, I got a bleep. I might have actually engaged in... Wait, these USB ports are a little tight. Okay, that is going in the right way, though. These USB ports might be... They don't have the weird keying feature that the, to accept its own USB port, so I'm not really sure, but I can't get the flash drive here. Check this out. You see that? I can't get that, and that's in there right. This is on top, and then that, so it's like that's not in at all. You see that? And this is in the correct way. If I turn it over this way, I can't even get it to go in that far because it's obviously not going to plug in that way. And I don't want to force anything, so that's kind of odd. Anyways, there you go on that. So yeah, anyways, that's it for this video. Just thought I would show you this lovely strawberry red, I think that's what this is called, the strawberry red Apple iMac keyboard, as well as showing you how it behaves when plugged into a modern day computer, such as my MacBook Pro here. So guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and if you liked it, subscribe, and also make sure to click the like button. So, yeah, anyways, thank you all for watching, and adios.